This is Paul Newman, and if you are seeing this screen, I am hoping to assure you here that the live stream will start very soon. So please stay tuned. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video, the second part of the Classic Watch 2024 review. I was hoping to keep this video as short as possible, but there's just so many horses on the site that if I'd have done the Irish video in the same part as the UK video, it would have probably been over an hour. So I decided to split them up in two. So this is now part two of the Classic Watch 2024 review. We are going to take a look at the horses based in Ireland on the site. Before we get started, classicwatch24.great/site.net is where people will be able to find these horses. You'll see that all through the year, hopefully the update there, the 2-year-old pattern races, then the 3-year-old pattern races, and then the 3-year-old and above all age pattern races are on the list on the site as well. The tab we're interested in today is this tab here, the Irish Trained Horses tab. And if that is clicked, it is taking you to this site, this page, which contains 19 horses based in Ireland. 8 horses took around 23 minutes to review. On the UK-based one, let's see now how we get on with the Irish one. Again, these are in no particular order at all. Going to try and go through them a bit quicker, I suppose. The first one we've got to take a look at is Grosvenor Square. Trained by Aidan O'Brien, owned by Coolmore, sired by Galileo out of a dam called Waddy Hatter, who herself was sired by Kate Cross. He came into his classic campaign already a Group 3 winner after winning the 2023 Airfield Stakes by 4.5 lengths, running to a mark of 105, which was his best form at 2. He started his classic campaign really third of 6, behind Hidden Law, the ill-fated Hidden Law, in the Group 3 Chester Bars, beaten 10.5 lengths that day, running to a mark of 97. That's the only time, really, apart from at 2, he was going around as up his price a bit. He soon stopped doing that. It was then Classics, really, 2024 in June the 30th. The horse ran in the Irish Derby and was only 7th of 8, beaten 9.5 lengths by Los Angeles, where he ran to a mark of 104. The improvement then started to come. July 2024 went up to 1 mile, 6 furlongs in the Group 2 Curragh Cup. The horse ran to a mark of 115 when he was second out of 10, behind a Classic Watch 2023 horse, actually, Tower of London, beaten by a length and a quarter. And then he gained a Group 3 win in August 2024. He managed to win the Irish St Leger Trial, Group 3, beating Courageous Strike by 20 lengths, running to a mark of 116. The horse then ran in another classic, the Betfred UK St Leger at Doncaster, where the horse could only finish 5th of 7, beaten 6.25 lengths by Ian Bruegel, running to a mark of 110. And then the horse finished his season by running in the French St Leger, the pre-Royal Oak, another Group 1, where the horse could only finish 5th out of 8, beaten 8.5 lengths by Double Major, running to a mark of 106. So the horses ran in 3 classics, 2 fifths and a 7th. He did manage to win 1 Group 3 to add to his Group 3 win at 2, but his form did improve from 105 to 116. Just sadly fell short a bit, really, didn't he, in the classics. Next horse we're going to take a look at is Ylang Ylang, a filly, trained by Aidan O'Brien, again owned by Coolmore, sired by Frankel out of a dam called Shambolic, who herself was sired by Shamadal. Filly's mile winner at 2, running to a mark of 109, beating Shuwari by half a length. In fact, the horse won a Group 1 and a Group 3, age 2. At 3, though, the campaign really can only be described as a disaster. The horse has not finished in the first 3 in 5 starts, including in the UK Guineas And in the UK Oaks, where she finished 5th behind Almaker, beaten a length, and 6th behind Azalea, beaten 9.5 lengths, running to marks of 110 and 100. The filly then ran in August 2024 in the Desmond Stakes, only beating one home, beat 7th of 8 behind Muta Sareth. She then back up to Group 1 company on the back of that in the Matron Stakes, finishing 4th out of 9, beaten a length and a half by Porta Fortuna, running to a mark of 104 before finishing her season, beaten 11 of 13 behind Friendly Soul in the Prix de l'Opera on Arc Day, 11th, last of all on the day, running to a mark of 91. A terribly inconsistent horse, really, but she was consistently bad, wasn't she? At 3, not in the first 3 in 5 starts, and she only managed to improve her finish mile win of 109 by 1, running to a mark of 110 when 5th in the UK 1,000 guineas. The horse has to be considered a failure any which way these things are looked at. The same could arguably be said of Henry Longfellow, who people will see has done enough. He is now standing at Coolmore Stud for €15,000. 4-year-old sired by Dubawi out of Minding, who of course was sired by Galileo. Unbeaten at 2, St James's Palace second at 3, son of Minding. You'll see at 2, the horse was absolutely superb, running to a mark of 116 when winning the National Stakes, beating Stunning Peach by 5 lengths. The horse also beat by 2 lengths in the EBF Futurity. But again, at 3, the horse managed to finish in the first 3 in 2 Group 1s and never managed to trouble the judge. Starting his season in the 12th of May in the French 2,000 guineas, where the horse could only finish 8th, beaten 4 lengths by Metropolitan, running to a mark of 103. Easily the best one of the horse's career came in June 2024 in the St James's Palace Stakes, where he was beaten a neck by Rosalian, running to a mark of 123. The horse was then well beaten in July 2024, on the 31st of July, in the Group 1 Sussex Stakes, 4th and 5th, behind Notable Speech again, running to a mark of 115. Third he was then, the horse, in the Prix Moulin against the old horses, 3rd of 7 behind Tribalist, beaten 4.25 lengths, running to a mark of 112. And then his last run of the season was at Ascot in the QE2, where the horse finished 7th of 12, beaten 14.5 lengths by Charin, where he turned in the worst performance of his career, running to a mark of 93. Again, hard to know really what to make of this horse, isn't it? It'd be interesting to see how the horse goes at stud. But regarding Classic Watch, the horse finished 8th in one classic, never really tried any further than a mile, and never got his head in front. Although it did note that on his day, he ran to 123 behind Rosalian, improving his 2-year-old form from 116 to 123. City of Troy, the next one, standing at Coolmore Stud in Ireland for €75,000. Horse sired by Justify out of a dam called Together Forever, who herself was sired by Galileo. What an incredible career, really, this horse had. Top class 2-year-old, 3 out of 3, running to a mark of 123 when beating Al Yanabi in the Guineas. He then started his season when only 9th out of 11 in the UK Guineas, behind Notable Speech, beaten 17 lengths and running to a mark of only 84. This is the epitome of a bookie's horse, really. It's gone off favourite on all by one of its starts. He then went to the UK Derby, 3-1 favourite. He won the UK Derby, beating Ambiente Friendly by 2.25 lengths, running to a mark of 125. The horse then stepped up into his older company, winning the Coral Eclipse, beating Al Riffa by a length, running to a mark of 120. And then at York, the horse turned in arguably the best performance of his career, winning the Juddmonte International by a length, defeating Calandagan and running to a mark of 129. The horse was then set what I considered quite an ambitious tilt to end his career on dirt in America in the Del Mar Breeders' Cup Classic, where the horse could only finish 8th out of 14, beaten 13 lengths by Sierra Leone, running to a mark of 101. But a very interesting career. The horse managed to win 6 of his 8 starts, and he did improve his 2-year-old form of 123, which I didn't think the horse would have to do well to do that. And he ran to a mark of 129 at York. In the Juddmonte International, the horse only managed to win 1 classic. And interestingly, for a horse based in Ireland, the connections never even chose to show the horse to the Irish public all through its classic season. Whether that shows contempt for where the trainer's based, I'll leave that to others. In fact, the horse has only ran once in Ireland in his career. So the one thing you can say about these Irish trainers, they don't mind not showing their horses to the Irish public, do they? If this horse is anything to go by. But the horse is a classic winner, City of Troy. The next one, Belezza, 4-year-old filly trained by Jare Lyons, owned by the Moyglaire Stud Farm, sired by Siuni, out of a dam called Terrific, who herself was sired by Galileo. This horse I was disappointed with, really. Only managed to run once at 2, run into a mark of 87, but I was hoping that this horse would be a typical Newman sneaky one, that would be a decent horse, really. It's fair to say I was wrong on that occasion. The horse, its best run of the year was 102, when the horse was second out of 11 in the 2024 Nace Oaks trial, beaten 3/4 of a length by Hanalia. The horse never ran in a Group 1 race. It was last in a Group 2 at the Coa, before finally winning an all-weather listed race, the Diamond Stakes, beating Madame Celeste by a neck, running to a mark of 97. People did get away with it, though, because the horse did win at 9-1, and it did only run 6 times. But this is a site dedicated to winning classics, and there is no doubt at all that this horse has to go down, really. The fillies as a monumental failure. Sadly, Buttons, the next one, 4-year-old filly, trained by Aidan O'Brien, owned by Coolmore, sired by Kingman, out of a dam called Wonder of Wonders. Again, rather like Belezza, this one had only managed to win once at 2, beating Serious Notions by a neck, running to a mark of 84. This horse really wasn't seen that much after May, but they did get it into a classic without their horse winning. The horse was third behind a Lilac Roller in the Primary Bell Stakes, Group 3, running to a mark of 91. And then the horse was second behind Wendler in the Mutamakina Stakes, another Group 3, where the horse ran to 92. The horse then did turn up in the Irish 1,000 Guineas in May 2024 and was nearly placed, only managing to finish 4th out of 13, beaten 4 3/4 lengths by Fallen Angel, running to a career best mark of 104. I mean, this horse has only been out for the first 3 in 4 starts and was 4th in a classic. I don't think this could be classed as big a failure as Belezza. The horse did get to a classic and finish 4th. Just wasn't seen enough, was it? Unfortunately for the filly. The next one we're going to take a look at is One Look, trained by Paddy Toomey, owned by the Connolly Racing Syndicate, sired by Glen Eagles, out of a dam called Holy Salt, who herself was sired by Holy Roman Emperor. This horse shot to prominence, really, when it won the Goff Million on debut in September 2023 by 6 lengths, running to a mark of 103, beating Cherry Blossom in the process. Again, this one I hoped would go on to massive things this year. Safe to say I was somewhat wrong again about this one. And I think really the horse was done no favours by the way it was campaigned. Brought out very early in the season, 30th March, going from the Corks Million with £545,000 to the winner Goff Million to an £11,000 conditions race at Cork. Yes, the horse won, defeated Action Plan by 3 lengths, but the horse lost £20 of its rating, 103, down to 83. The horse even ran worse than that in its last 2 starts, in a Group 3 at Leopardstown and the listed race at Galway, where it only managed to beat 4 home in those 2 races. But then, to be fair to Connections, they did get it back somewhat. Second, beaten 3/4 of a length by Wingspan in the listed race at Gowan, the Hurry Harriet Stakes. And then the horse did manage to win a listed race at Killarney in August, the Vincent O'Brien Ruby Stakes, where she ran to a mark of 100, beating Princess Child by a length. Then she was tried at Group 3 company for the second time in her career. And again, she improved her resume, finishing second out of 11, beaten 1 3/4 lengths by Jesus in the Group 3 Lamb-Weights Fillies and Stud Mares race, Group 3. But again, 103 rated at 2, only rated 104 at the end of her 3-year-old campaign. And for a 6-length Goffs Million winner to only manage to win a listed race and be placed in one Group 3 just goes to show really how bad these sales races are regarding quality. Really a disappointing season for one look. The next one is the Willie McQuarrie trained Vespertilio, owned by Al Shirar Racing Limited, sired by Knight of Thunder out of a dam called Prudente, who herself was sired by Dan Silly. This one, a good 2-year-old form, I thought. It was a Group 2 winner where it beat Sakti by a length and 3/4. Form it improved on when only beaten a length and a quarter by a subsequent UK Irish Guineas winner, Fallen Angel, where she ran to a mark of 105 in the 2023 Moy Stud. She started off very promisingly. 2024 in France, the French 1,000 guineas, she managed to secure a place in that race, where I thought she was quite unlucky not to win that race, really. Beaten half a length by Ruhia at odds of 17-1, where she managed to tie her best 2-year-old form of 105. She then went on to another classic in May 2024, the Irish 1,000 guineas, where she could only finish 9th, beaten 7 lengths again by Fallen Angel. In fact, the horse only ran in 4 Group 1s this year at Deauville. On July the 24th, she ran 7th behind Puchkin in the Prix-Jean Prat, beaten 6 3/4, and then it was back up to a mile at Leopardstown for the Matron Stakes, where she finished 5th of 9, beaten 2 1/4 lengths by Porta Fortuna. But again, despite securing a classic placed effort for the site, the horse hasn't really improved her rating from 105 at 2 to 105 at 3, which after her first run I think is surprising. You know, she looks to have a good base to build on there, didn't she? Placed in a classic, but Connections believed in their filly, kept it to the top table, and as to say, she fell short for Willie McQuarrie and Al Shirar Racing. Next one we're going to take a look at now, back to the Colts. Diego Velasquez, trained by Aidan O'Brien, owned by Coolmore, sired by Frankel out of a dam called Sweepstake, who herself was sired by Acclamation, bred by Epona Bloodstock, this one at 2 as well. That's some decent form, a Group 2 winner, beating Capulet by half a length before falling out really due to what they said was the ground, when only beating one home behind Ancient Wisdom in the Vertem Futurity, leaving his best 2-year-old form in the Group 2 of 107. This horse was again highly tried at the start. May 2024 ran in the French 2,000 guineas, and another one to finish 4th on the list, beaten a length by Metropolitan, although the horse did improve its mark that day to 110. The horse was then kept to the French Classics in June, turning up in the Prix de Jockey Club on heavy ground again, where the horse could finish only 8th of 14, beaten 4 3/4 lengths by Luc de Vega, running to a mark of 108. Truly atrocious run on good to firm ground at Royal Ascot in the Group 2, King Edward VII, I'm assuming that is. The King Edward VII Stakes, 10th out of 14, beaten 30 lengths by Calandagan. But then the horse did bounce back and started to go up the grades, winning a Group 3 and a Group 2. The horse won the Group 3 in July, won the Meld Stakes, beating Tarawa by 7 lengths, running to a mark of 118, a mark the horse equalled with a 1.5 length victory over Mutasaref, when again an odds-on shot in the Group 2 Solonaway Stakes. So again, I've been reading, I don't like to read what the controlled outlets say, but I do think that what they've said about this horse heading into its 4-year-old campaign is quite positive. But regarding Classic Watch 24, the horse ran in 2 French Classics and failed, finishing 4th and 8th. But again, the horse did improve from 107 at 2 to 118 at 3. And could there be more to come from this horse, Diego Velasquez, at 4? Time will tell. Next horse we're going to take a look at is Opera Singer, trained by Aidan O'Brien, again owned by Coolmore, sired by Justify out of a dam called Liscana, who herself is out of Sadler's Wells. This was a top class 2-year-old really, ending her Group 1, ending her 2-year-old season in October with a 5-length win in the Prix Boussac at Longchamp, running to a mark of 114 at 2. The horse also won a Group 3 in August 2023, beating Brilliant by 6.5 lengths. So the form was there, also behind a Lilac Roller on her third start. So she was one really that was poised for classic glory this year. Unfortunately, she rather blew her lines in May 2024, only managing to finish third, beaten 4 3/4 lengths by Fallen Angel in the Irish 1,000 Guineas, running to a mark of 104. She then bounced back somewhat at Ascot, second, beaten a length by Porta Fortuna in the Coronation Stakes again against the 3-year-olds, before turning in her best performance of the season in August 2024 against the older mares, where she managed to win the Nassau Stakes at Glorious Goodwood by a neck, running to a mark of 117. The horse then ended her season with a run in the Prix Vermeil up to 1.5 miles, where she was 5th out of 12, beaten 4.5 lengths by subsequent Arc winner Blue Stocking, running to a mark of 112. Hard to know what to make of this filly, really. She's obviously decent. At 2, though, I think she was dominant. At 3, they kind of caught up with her a bit, but she did improve her rating from 114 to 117. But she didn't win a classic, securing a classic place only in the Irish 1,000 Guineas. The next one we need to look at is a Lilac Roller, another one trained by Paddy Toomey and owned by the Mutual Admiration Society Partnership. Who are these people who own these horses? Sired by Harry Angel out of a dam called Majala, who herself was sired by Red Ransom. This one I thought was interesting on its wins, really, at 2. It beat Opera Singer by a head, and it beat Nicky Swango by 2 lengths on debut at the Cork and the Coa, respectively. A win over Opera Singer. I thought that set her up quite nicely, and I was even more delighted on her third start and her first start of her classic campaign in April 2024, when she took out the Group 3 Priory Bell Stakes, beating Kitty Rose by a head. She then was quite unlucky, really, finishing placed in 2 Group 1s, including again in the Guineas, the Irish 1,000 Guineas, 2nd of 13, behind Fallen Angel and ahead of Opera Singer at 12 to 1. And then the filly finished 3rd out of 7, beaten 4 lengths by Porta Fortuna in the Falmouth. Again, rather like Ghostwriter in the UK video, it's hard to call this horse a failure, but it is really. Didn't win a classic, but she did improve her form from 96 at 2 to 109 at 3. And after 5 starts, I'm assuming that this horse is still in training, and hopefully the horse will be able to kick on at 4, because this is a nice horse, and I don't think we've seen the best of it. The next one we're going to take a look at is Azada, trained by Dermot Weld and owned by His Highness the Aga Khan, sired by Siuni out of a dam called Azimina, who was sired by Galileo. Only ran once at 2, beaten Harbour Gem by 2.5 lengths, went into a mark of 87. It was possible after that, 1 out of 1. It was then connections showed their hand, really, that they thought they had a horse, where first time out they went for the Irish 1,000 Guineas. Group 1, the horse ran okay, finishing 6 out of 13, stepping up from a maiden win, only 5 3/4 lengths, and improving her figure from 87 to 102. Yeah, that's not a small improvement, is it? She then, though, was dropped back to listed company Even Money in the Celebration Stakes at the Coa, where she could only finish 3rd of 8, beaten 4 lengths by Lord Massachusetts, and then Group 3 company in September 2024. The Landwage race, won by Jesus. Azada can only finish 5th out of 11 in that race, beaten 9.25 lengths, before she did gain listed success in October 2024, winning the Garnet Stakes, beating Sakti by 2 lengths, but again, it took a mark of under 100 to win that listed race. In fact, she ran to 95. So again, this horse at 4, is there more to come from her? Hopefully, but regarding classics, you have to say she was a failure. She ran in 1 classic, finished 6th, and she improved from 87 to 102. But really, that's just free racing. She was only raced once at 2. Next one we're going to take a look at is Everlasting. 4-year-old filly trained by Aidan O'Brien, owned by Coolmore, sired by Kingman out of a dam called Could It Be Love, who herself was sired by Warfront. Everlasting raced twice at 2, beating Kisera by a length and a quarter, running to 87 for her best form. A solid rather than spectacular form, it's fair to say, in the early trials, finishing 4th and 3rd behind Brilliant in the Park Express Stakes Group 3 and Azalea in the Salsable Stakes, running to a mark behind Azalea of 99. But she then went to the Irish 1,000 Guineas where, really, her form never entitled her to take a chance at all. The Tattersalls, Irish 1,000 Guineas, and that proved the case, really. Beaten 13.5 lengths, 11 out of 13 at odds of 25 to 1. She then did bounce back somewhat in June 2024, where she managed to win the listed Kuyonga Stakes, beating Asian Days by half a length, running to what proved to be her best figure of 101. Then she was even beat in a handicap at Royal Ascot, 11th out of 30, beat 9.5 lengths by Soprano in the Sandringham Stakes, before finishing last in the Group 3 Brownstown Stakes at Leopardstown in July. I mean, this horse not good enough, really, is it? It was well beaten in a classic, Group 3 placed listed winner, and she was best mating of 101. This is what sort of one way, if possible, has got videos made and they turn up in classics. I'll put them on the site, but I do prefer them to actually earn their place in classics with form and after being beaten in 2 trials, whether Everlasting did that. I will leave that open to you all watching this video to decide that. The next one we're taking a look at is another example of that. Pearls and Rubies, trained by Aidan O'Brien and owned by Richard Henry and John Magnier. Mrs. Richard Henry, sorry, and John Magnier. Horse sired by what I consider to be the worst sire in the UK and Ireland at the moment. No Nay Never, a horse that if you sire a horse by No Nay Never, you might as well be admitting that you're not interested in winning a classic, because the horse has never sired a classic winner. Sired by a dam called Diamonds and Rubies, out, and she herself is out of Fascinet Rock. Bred by Premier Bloodstock, she was one I was watching really at 2. She looked well exposed at 2, really. She was placed in the Chesham, placed in the Group 3 Anglesey Stakes as well. And then she had 2 average runs before putting all that behind her, running to a mark of 103 when she was only beaten a length and a quarter in the Group 1 at Cheveley Park Stakes behind Portafortura, running to what proved to be her best career mark of 103. Luckily for me, she was only seen 3 times this year. They let her make her debut in the Irish Guineas, where of course she had to get on the site really then, where she finished last of all, beating 18.5 lengths. And she didn't really show much in her next 2 starts either. In the Group 3 Jersey Stakes at Royal Ascot, she was only 10th out of 19, beaten 7 lengths by Harten, and then back down to 6 furlongs in July 2024 for a listed race at Naas, where she was 11th out of 13, beaten 15.5 lengths by Night Eyes. I mean, a spectacular fall-off, really. The horse was managed to be placed in a Group 1, Group 3 and a listed race, last in a classic, and the horse just hasn't trained on at all. Typical No Nay Never. 103 rated 2, and her best at 3 was 91. A failure if ever there was one. And I will be amazed if you see any No Nay Never horses on Classic Watch 25. Azalea, 4-year-old filly, trained by Dermot Weld, sadly injured during her season, owned by the Aga Khan, sired by Dubawi, out of his era, who herself was sired by Teofilo. This was looking a very promising horse, it's fair to say. At 2, the horse got off the mark on its second start, beating the subsequent pattern race winner, Wendler, by a length at Cork on the 26th of September. But it was in April 2024 she came to the attention of myself when she won the Group 3 Salsable Stakes, defeating Purple Lily by half a length and improving from 80 to 103 from her second to her third start. Massive jump. Connections then decided to let her take her chance in a classic, the UK Oaks, and she rewarded Connections, winning by 3 lengths, defeating a fellow Classic Watch 24 hopeful Dance Sequence by 3 lengths, running to what proved to be her last run and her career best mark of 115. I mean, this is what's so sad about horse racing. There's no way knowing that the pedigree, the connections, that people managed to see the best of this classic winning filly. Who knows if she would have been held, she would have been able to serve it up to her elders, but she did nothing wrong in those two starts in Group 3 and Group 1 level, and she improved from 80 at 2 in 2 starts to 115 after 4 starts, 4 classic winner and a magnificent filly, it's fair to say, identified by the site. Another solid horse now, Los Angeles, trained by Aidan O'Brien and owned by Coolmore, sired by Camelot, out of a dam called Frequential, who was sired by Dan Silly. This one went under the radar a bit at 2. It was a Group 1 winner at 2, where the horse defeated Stunning Peach by a neck, running to a mark of 107. It ran to 89 on debut. The horse has only been ridden by Ryan Moore 4 times in its 9 starts. It's been ridden by other jockeys 5 times. This year, the horse had a good start, I thought. Earned its Derby place in May 2024 with victory in a Group 3 Derby trial, where the horse beat Euphoric by a length and ran to a mark of 108. The horse then went to the UK Derby and ran an absolutely cracking race, in my opinion, finishing 3rd of 16, beaten 6 lengths by City of Troy, already improving its rating to 115. No brainer really. Once they decided they weren't going to send City of Troy, they sent Los Angeles to the Irish Derby in the 30th of June 2024, and the horse did the job, defeating Sunway by 3/4 of a length to secure classic glory and a racing post rating of 121. A racing the horse equalled on its next 3 starts, believe it or not. The horse managed to win a Group 2 for 3-year-olds only. The Great Voltager, always a race nice to take out for a classic site. The horse beat Illinois by a neck. Then the horse was 4th behind Economics in September in the Irish Champion Stakes. The horse ran another good race there, beaten 4th out of 8 by a length and a quarter. And then in a race 121, the 6th of October in the Arc, behind Blue Stocking, Los Angeles managed to secure an Arc place. 3rd out of 16, beaten 2 3/4 lengths, and again running to a mark of 121. And again, 4 runs in 3 months looks to be a bit too much, doesn't it, for these horses? At Ascot, the horse came back. British Champion Stakes Day, only finished 9th, beaten 8.5 lengths by Anmut, running to a mark of 106. But I think people can forgive that horse, that run. Proved to be a very solid horse, it's fair to say. Winning 3 races at 3, a Voltager, an Irish Derby, and a Derby trial. What more could horses do than that, really? Backing up its Group 1 win at 2, going from marks of 107 to 121. Good horse. Los Angeles. The next one, Port Fairy, trained by Aidan O'Brien, again owned by Coolmore, sired by Australia, out of a dam called Fabuli, who is sired by Fastnet Rock, bred by Whisperview Trading Limited. This one again, as an Irish classic, cut up. We scraped around for contenders. This is the best we come up with. The horse only ran once at 2, where the horse was 7th out of 11, beaten by Alperiatris. But at 3, the horse did win, beating Lady Doris by a neck, running to a mark of 82. In May, the horse was placed in a listed race, the Cheshire Oaks, behind one of our UK possibles, Forest Fairy, where again, there was nice improvement from 82 to 95. And the horse really did gather momentum with a win at Royal Ascot in June. Winner of the Group 2 Ribblesdale Stakes, beating Lava Stream by a neck, running to a mark of 108. I suppose the Group 2 Ribblesdale winner, you have to say, earned its chance to run in the Irish Oaks on the 20th of July, but the horse could only finish 13th out of 14, beating 17 lengths by You Got To Me, running to a mark of 84. And then it was downhill, really. The horse only beat 2 home in her last 2 Group 1 starts, 7th out of 8 at York in the Yorkshire Oaks, and last of all, behind Grateful in the Prix de Royale at Longchamp. So, yeah, the best mark of 108 was gained in the Group 2 win. And then it ran in a classic, and the horse really was brutally exposed, to be fair to it. Finishing 13th out of 14, and then that was its level, really. Again, I had to find something, really. If the horses aren't there, they're not there. And we did try and get some Irish Oaks representation on the site. but unfortunately Port Fairy wasn't up to the job. It wasn't as bad as the other one we tried in the race, though. It's fair to say that both Irish classics really did cut up terribly, middle distance classics. Lope Delilah's 4-year-old filly, trained by Willie Mullins and owned by Wathnan Racing, owned by Mrs. J.M. Mullins until the 9th of July. The horse sired by Lope de Vega out of a dam called Golden Gazelle, who herself was sired by Galileo. Again, this horse only raced once at 2, 5th out of 11, but she did win by 2¼ lengths, beating Finchiao Lua in a maiden at Leopardstown, where she ran to a mark of 95, which is her best run, really, which says it all. You know, from a maiden winner to the Irish Oaks, massive step up in class. And so it proved the horse could only finish 11th, beaten 12 lengths by You Got To Me, running to a mark of 92. And then the horse ran to 80 in the listed race at Naas, the Bluebell Stakes, when she was only 10th out of 16, beaten 12 lengths by Caught You Looking. The horse in 4 starts has not raced above 100. Did she deserve a place in the Irish Oaks at the start? Probably not. Is there more to come from her at 4? Maybe, but I don't think she'll be carrying much of mine this season. Last but not least, Jan Bruegel. Jan Bruegel, trained by Aidan O'Brien, owned by Coolmore, sired by Galileo out of a dam called Devoted to You, who herself was sired by Daniel Dancer. I mean, what a horse. This horse has done absolutely nothing wrong. For a horse that never raced at 2, it has put together a superb campaign, beating Ozark Days by 8 lengths on its maiden, running to a mark of 103. And then on its second start, it stepped out of 3-year-old company and took on the elder horses in June, winning the Group 3 International Stakes, where it beat Trust Your Instinct by a neck, running to a mark of 110. The horse then went back into its own age group to take part in a leisure trial at Glorious Goodwood, the Group 3 Gordon Stakes, where the horse beat Bellum Justum by a neck, running to a mark of 116, before being allowed to take its place in the UK St Leger, the last UK Classic of the season in September 2024. And the horse good enough to beat Illinois by a neck, running to a mark of 120 when going off the 11-4 joint favourite. Bit of a bookie's horse. The first and the 4th starts, people could have got a good value. But then, for a horse that's unbeaten, 4 runs, 4 wins, running to a Racing Post rating of 120. Impossible not to think there could be more to come. They did take it down to Australia to run in the Melbourne Cup, didn't they? But I think the horse was vetted out of the race, past some sort of fitness test. But all in all, yeah, definitely made the right decision to split this video into 2 parts. 38 minutes to do the Irish trained runners. All in all, I think the Irish trained runners, they did well. They did very well. On classicwatch24.great/site.net, we had Jan Bruegel, City of Troy, Azalea, all land classics. We might have even forgot a couple as well. A couple of them also ran admirably against the older horses as well. A couple of them, like Henry Longfellow and Ylang Ylang, obviously disappointments, as well as the ones I like to chance, the unbeaten 1 out of 1ers at the start of the season. They didn't really do too well, managing to win a couple of listed races between them, although Buttons was 4th in the Guineas. That's the thin lines you see between success and failure in this fantastic sport. Well, I can leave this video here now. Thank you very much to everybody for taking the time to watch the video. It's very much appreciated. What I will do is I'll leave a copy to the Classic Watch 24 playlist. And what I might do is I might set up a playlist, a review playlist, and include that in there as well. And so we'll have all the reviews, the Irish, the Australian, the UK, and the Irish. Still got 2 more to do, at least. We're going to take a look at the French and the German runners, hopefully in one video. And then hopefully in one video, we're going to take a look at the USA and the Japanese runners in the same video. But for now, what I will also do is I will leave a copy to allow people to subscribe to the channel as well. So if people have watched this video and enjoyed it, they can choose to subscribe to the channel so they don't miss any more. But for now, take care, everybody. Have a fantastic week. I hope you have a fantastic upcoming weekend as well. Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves and your loved ones. and goodbye.